peace and cannabis to the family, and good evening to the beautiful people of New York. I hope you all are doing well today. We had a little technical difficulty there. I don't know what that's about, but we'll figure it out. You are locked into the OG Social Network podcast, coming to you straight from the heart of the South Bronx here in New York City. I'm your host, Papa Duke Serrano, Bronx native, cannabis advocate, and your bridge to the conversations that matter. We're here to give a voice to the marginalized, to the entrepreneurs, activists, and the professionals who are building this industry from the ground up with authentic street cred. Today, we're talking about the backbone of any business, the money and the structure. In the hot seat today, we've got the power players from SAX LLP, Allison Kirchoffer and Mandy Dawson. We're diving into cannabis accounting by design. If your books aren't right, you better get them right now. So I'm just going to go right into it and introduce these beautiful ladies and just say hello to Allison Kirchhoffer, who's passionate about supporting her business, her small business, and is expert in developing standard operating procedures for accounting and bookkeeping. She envisions a world full of entrepreneurs carving their own destiny. Accounting by Design's mission is to support small businesses by designing and implementing the systems needed for a reliable accounting function. In doing so, the firm helps entrepreneurs achieve their business goals and pursue their passions. Allison is looking to connect with New York and New Jersey cannabis startups to discuss 280E, record keeping, planning, forecasting, and how robust accounting can help them achieve their business goals. I also have Mandy Dawson. She's a Baruch graduate with a CPA track accountant, currently working as an account manager at the firm of SAX, and focuses on financial accounting, bookkeeping for the hospitality industry. Ladies, how are you all doing today?
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
That's awesome.
So how did I get into the cannabis industry is I think what you asked, Papa Dukes.
Yes.
And first of all, let me just say thank you so much for having us on your show. Thrilled to be here. I sort of dropped everything when New York and New Jersey legalized and really targeted the industry because I saw an opportunity to help. And, you know, since I've joined the industry, I don't think I could ever turn back. I don't know. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I've always worked with small businesses and entrepreneurs, even before I was an accountant. And the entrepreneurs in the cannabis space are some of my favorite people to work with. So, yeah, it's been great. And again, I don't know if you guys can hear me right now. I think we're good.
We can hear you.
It keeps sort of jumping around on my browser here.
No, we can hear you. No problem. As long as we can get great audio,
fantastic.
That'll be fine. How about you, Mandy? How did you get into all of this? I understand you work from a hospitality side. You and I met at an event last year. So
that's right. So I've about a decade total in the accounting industry, and I came in from the hospitality industry as a bartender. So I was a nightclub bartender for years and years before, and then I became a restaurant and bar accountant for a long time. And I think it really helped set me up well for what I do now in cannabis, because I really cut my teeth as an accountant mastering the art of bill pay and expense management for clients, and especially clients with heavy operational footprint. So there's a lot of vendor interface and statement review to make sure you're keeping track of everything that the client owes and hunting down unresolved discrepancies in payments. And if they, to see when the client is overpaying for things. And this is a major component in a lot of cannabis that I'm seeing. And it really helped set me up well and prepare me well for what I have seen in the industry. And, in the end, this is a culture and world I know well outside of my professional life. So this was always an industry I wanted to be in from the second of legalization. And Allison and I linked up after working together in hospitality and started with other cannabis accountant hopefuls, cannabis accountant nonprofit together. So we kind of started rocking and rolling in this industry. And then Allison came to SAX and I followed her shortly after. And we've been slowly but surely growing the team there.
So that's right. Great minds just flock together. I got it. I understand. It's awesome. I know that now. Now I want to get something clear. That the 280 now is in effect, right? So cannabis businesses are now able to uh,
Yes.
deduct the expenses, right? I'll leave that to you, Allison, please, if you can let us know.
Yeah, so 280E is still in effect at the federal level as of today. 280E is a section of the Internal Revenue Code that impacts state licensed cannabis operators, in that it says that if you are trafficking a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 substance, which cannabis is listed as marijuana on Schedule 1 on the Controlled Substances Act, then you cannot take any deductions or credits. So you're, unlike any other non-cannabis business in the country where you can take those deductions to lower your taxable income, you cannot do that as a cannabis business on your federal tax returns in New York, which means that you're paying a much higher effective tax rate.
Okay.
So 280E has impact, and as of so, the executive order that was signed by Trump in December did not immediately remove 280E from the equation.
Okay. So repeat that. You did get out there. Repeat that again one more time. That the 280 is it in effect or is it not in effect?
It is currently still very much in effect. There has
Okay.
not been any changes to the actual practice at this point. It hasn't been ratified into law, so there's no real changes there yet.
To the 280 situation, how if, again, it's not in effect yet, but will it be for those? For
We're not really sure when it's actually going to be planned to be thoroughly rescheduled. They haven't even really ruled on where that's going to fall. So the tax effect, it's going to be a while before that can be realized on the dispensary or cultivator side of things. Also, the way that we account for 280E within financial accounting to mitigate the tax bill is a specific inventory process, and changing that based on the change in 280E, we're of the opinion might make somebody a major candidate for an audit. I mean, it would be kind of a red flag. So at this time, I wouldn't recommend anyone changing their accounting practice based on it. I would still kind of stay the course with the costing method that saves you the most, or whatever costing method you've chosen before 280E, was rescheduled, or at least announced that it would be rescheduled by EO.
Right. Allison, glad to see you're back. Everything is good now.
I'm here again, and I caught the end of that. Yes, awesome.
Okay. So getting back to, I am just been issued a license. I need to have an accountant, attorney, everything, but the finance part is definitely very important. How can I, as a new business owner who's never had business with an accounting firm or CPA, what should we look for in ensuring that we have the right people looking out for our books?
Can I answer this one, or do you want me to? Okay.
Anyone? Yeah.
I think that one thing that we emphasize ourselves, and I think one thing that is a major green flag for an accounting firm, is how much research and recon they're doing going into an engagement with a client. So if we like to do a thorough assessment and visit our client and really get an idea from soup to nuts what all of their processes look like, whether they have an ATM on site, who fills that ATM, what are the hours of operation, how are drawers filled, what all of that looks like, helps us build a better set of books. It also helps us tailor whatever the client's needs might be. So if you have more experience in paying your, you may not need as much help with your bill payment or your budgeting if you're already somebody who has experience in that kind of thing. But other people need a lot more help with their budgeting and the forecasting of their sales in order to make better business decisions. So the more research and recon you do on your clients, the more research and recon an accountant is doing as they're growing their relationship with you, that is a good sign. If you don't hear from your accountant in the first month or two after signing an engagement with them, that's a really bad sign, I would say, conversely.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that all too often. And we inherit clients from people that just, they haven't heard from people in months. And I don't understand how someone is functioning in their business without that financial insight that they badly need.
Right. And well, from what I see is that the uh, the smaller dispensaries have an issue with trying to maintain communication and ensuring that they're following guidelines, staying within regulation with their books and everything.
Yeah.
The CPAs they don't have the extra knowledge they need in cannabis accounting, so to speak.
Yeah.
Tell us why SAX is it SAX Cannabis by design or SAX accounting by design? I want to be
SAX accounting by design, I think,
sure.
is,
Okay.
but we are the cannabis department at SAX, so we
Right.
are the eccentric, like the eccentric department that is its own new thing. It's a very small part of a mid-sized CPA firm, which
Mm-hmm.
functions like, a normal accounting firm would. But within that, this is a very specific, very niche style of small business accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And considering things like the 471c costing method that we have to use to mitigate 280E for clients, it's a more complex format than simple small business accounting. So having that specific cannabis specific accounting is super advantageous for a business. There are people out there that are just using a regular accountant. They are getting very high tax bills. So this is one of the solutions that helps keep you profitable as a business going in and helps keep you open,
Mm-hmm.
because high tax bills can shut people down sometimes.
Oh, I see there are many that are paying a lot every quarter.
Yeah.
A lot. And so with me being a new business, I know I have to make sure it's up to me to make sure I find the right accountant. What is it about SAX that would make me come to you? That would make me say, I can have these people take care of me and my books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Allison.
Yeah. Am I being heard? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
My camera's off, but that's okay. You don't need to.
Yeah.
So, the SAX Cannabis practice is built. We're growing by leaps and bounds. We just brought in some 2 partners and 2 directors with a cannabis background, and at the end of the day, it means that we've got some top thought leaders in the industry here, and we're also building out our team. So we have a very specialized group here working with our cannabis clients. So there's that. We analyze a lot. 471c, like Mandy mentioned, is a great strategy for most of our clients. And we know sort of the ins and outs of what needs to be done to how to implement that in a compliant way. Because really, I'll just say a quick aside, and then I'll come back to your question about SAX specifically. We're implementing that because what we're saying is, and this makes perfect sense, is that, the way we as, let's say a business owner looks at their business and profitability, the way they analyze their operations is they are calling indirect costs part of inventory, which is done. Lots of businesses do that. And when you're implementing a 471c strategy, essentially you're saying that there's that this is how you manage your business, how you make decisions. And so we implement that costing methodology, and we've got to do it in a way, like I said, that, from a tax perspective, it's compliant. because this is the way they're thinking about their business, not necessarily the sort of cherry on top is, yes, this does mitigate 280E and it does lower your tax bill. So that's an area that we advise clients on, in addition to structuring considerations as well. And what's wonderful about SAX, so Mandy and I both came to SAX in the past year, and we were both working with small businesses, working with cannabis businesses in New York before that, more or less for ourselves. And coming to SAX, one of the amazing benefits is just all the resources at our fingertips. So SAX is a firm that's been around for a few decades, and it does a lot of the amazing, work that you would traditionally expect an accounting firm to do. I say amazing just because the partners here are amazing, and that they specialize in their areas. They really know their stuff. So, if you're working with a manufacturer that's building out, their facility, I to our R&D tax partner expert. We have, tax experts across industries. And then we have, of course, a large audit practice. And then we've got sort of lots of amazing ancillary things that, so we do the traditional stuff that you would expect, and then we do the stuff that you wouldn't expect an accounting firm to do. We have a large, growing wealth advisory practice. Something that's really exciting that we can bring to the table now at SAX is we're putting together a pooled 401k plan for cannabis. So our cannabis team and our wealth advisory group, we're coming together and we're able to do this. We've got HR consulting. We've got an awesome technology group, like all of these needs that any business needs. I see you have.
I figured I'd put that up for you. Yeah.
So that's what, one of the reasons I decided to come to SAX last year was, okay, I can do so much more for clients just being a part of the SAX ecosystem.
Okay. All right. And I see, they're really across the board here and cover many industries. And so definitely have the experience to help people get from point A to point B when it comes to their accounting. When, I guess with big corporate, the relationship we're having with big corporations and everything, most small businesses are concerned whether they will get the services provided by these corporations. So how can you guarantee that you are you're looking out for their best interest and ensuring that they stay in business?
I think it's our team. I'll just say, so we all come from a background of working very closely with small businesses, either in-house or in an outsourced capacity. Accounting by design was actually my practice when I worked for myself, and I was working exclusively with New York, New Jersey cannabis operators. And then I brought that philosophy and that concept and the name over to SAX. And it's sort of, when I came here, my vision and goal for SAX Cannabis practice was to change that narrative. Because when I worked for myself, I got a lot of clients because they wanted to work with me and have that intimate relationship with me. They can text me. Well, that hasn't changed at SAX, and that's sort of the culture that we're building out here. Most of SAX, across the board, SAX works with small businesses across industries. So very entrepreneurial mindset amongst the partners here. And so I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the people. And when people are out there, operators or license applicants are building out their team, attorneys, accountants, consultants, insurance, payroll, there's a lot of us out there. And I think it just comes down to, doing your due diligence and seeing who do you vibe with and understanding what the onboarding process looks like and how often you'll be in communication with them. What is the frequency of meetings? What are the deliverables? How are we tracking our onboarding process and just, our metrics across the board, like with any of those professionals that you end up engaging in. I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the people who and all of us caring very much about the industry and the entrepreneurs that we work with.
Excellent. Well, we're going to hear more about this after this commercial break. I definitely want to hear more about what specifically you could do for cannabis businesses. I'll be right back, guys. We're going to talk. We're going to talk more with Allison and Mandy. Be right back.
For too long, cannabis branding relied on outdated stereotypes. We're here to change that. Jadestone is a woman-owned, strategy-first creative agency, building brands that stand out, resonate, and perform. With white glove service and meticulous attention to detail, we transform ideas into bold identities and memorable experiences. From brand strategy and visual identity to packaging and dispensary design, every touchpoint is intentional, refined, and crafted to make your brand unforgettable. Let's create something extraordinary together.
Yeah, Silk Road. Silk Road. What a great
That's my local
dispensary.
dispensary.
Right? I love that guy, man. Sohan and his
Yeah.
staff, Trey, the general manager, all the people there are amazing. They've been my sponsor now for starting their second year. They're actually producers this year. So I just want to give them a shout out, some love. They're at 166-30 Jamaica Avenue. And also my dear friends over at Jadestone Cannabis Branding. You know, I love my sponsors. My sponsors are amazing. They are probably one of the greatest people out there to support in the podcast: Produce 420, Green Spectrum CBD, Silk Road, Wetbod Distributors, Jadestone Cannabis Branding, and Surfside. I really appreciate you all for supporting the podcast for its second season. We are really we're making it happen. But we're back here with SAX LLP's Allison Kirchhoffer and Mandy Dawson. And we were talking about accounting and cannabis. So let's continue. Allison, so go right ahead. Now, what are you specifically, what is it about you specifically in SAX that helps cannabis brands know that you're the one to come to?
Well, I'd like to think that it's bigger than me, honestly, that it is, the group at SAX and all the resources and experts we have here. But what I think we do differently is our accounting by design process. And this is what Mandy was talking about earlier. We take a really deep dive when we first start working with the client to get a full understanding of their business operations and their goals. We have a set process in place. It's not just an idea or something that we like to do. There's an actual step-by-step process to this, and at the end of the process, we go through, our observations, evaluations, and recommendations. And then it's very clear from there what we are going to do for them. What is the relationship going to look like? And it's different for everybody. Of course, retail is retail, sure. But, at the end of the day, everybody has different goals, a different way of doing things, different external and internal reporting requirements. They need help in different ways. So that's really, to me, I'm very proud of the accounting by design process that we have in place here, because it really establishes a strong foundation from the start of a client relationship, where we have an understanding of what they care about, what they need, what they can afford, and we put together a plan. So often when I'm speaking to people, they ask, what do you charge? Well, I don't know yet. I don't know. Want to, at the end of the process, come up with a relationship and an engagement that works for everybody. So I think that's, I don't see that anywhere else.
It's definitely customized. The word. And each store, each store is different. So you can't, people can't presume to think that store A, even if you're the same size, same everything, each store requires a complete customization. So do you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, even within the same ownership structure, like if it's one license holder with 3 stores, the different needs of different stores based on the staffing of the stores might be different.
Yeah.
So we have clients with multiple locations, and some of them need help with bill pay and others don't.
Hmm.
Things like that.
Hmm. Especially if one store has a higher grasp of finance than the other store, some may
And
be
that's the
more.
thing that is
Yeah,
definitely comes
you,
about.
you don't need crutches, bro. You need a whole entourage. I got it. I
Yes.
got it. I got it. As women in the industry, the one thing I do know, I've heard a lot of, because I promote human beings in cannabis. But what I am uh, concerned about for my daughters who's going into the workforce and everything, have you seen changes getting better? Women being acknowledged, especially in the finance industry, which is like straight up, uh, boys club in many cases still. And considering what was going on in the world, do you see your glass ceilings just being burst and taking it where you need to go? I'll leave it,
I
man.
would say that they're slowly cracking. I wouldn't see these dramatic shatterings or shifts. There's
Mhm.
still, it's amazing to see the female leadership in the form of Allison that we have on our team here at SAX. But in the end, you are still contending with, historic and institutionalized,
Mhm.
essential goalposts that we all kind of have to fight against to make the entire space equal opportunity for everyone. And that definitely goes for the kind of clients we see too.
Mhm.
When I entered the industry, based on all of the stuff that you see but based on what you see on the news, where they're patting themselves on the back about social equity opportunities they're giving people out, and then you look at the reality of the demographic amongst the industry itself, there's a lot of work to be done still. And that's part of what we want to do at SAX too, is help even that playing field and offer services that are extra tailored to the needs of people that maybe need more business acumen and need more of an explanation of how the numbers can work for them and help them make better business decisions.
What would you recommend to young people that are interested in accounting, that are interested in finance, right? I told my daughters, you really need to know about finance. I know that the education system just doesn't teach us. What can they get in first to learn about getting into becoming CPAs? Allison?
Yeah, that's interesting. I just spoke at Montclair State University to their accounting society. So a bunch of students there graduating in the next year or two, all about that basically. And it was really interesting to hear the questions that they asked. Like, I have this specific idea in mind of what I want to do. What's the best way to get there? And, I'm just thinking about my own experience and how I didn't graduate high school and immediately go into accounting. I came here because I had an interest in business, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I was almost a music teacher. The advice I have is that every path is different. And now, I'm at a firm and I'm a CPA and I'm, in a position of leadership. And I got here my own way. And I think maybe, it's about sort of targeting what you're looking for, doing a lot of networking. If you're still in school, finding the resources that your school will offer to help you land that job. But I think it's good to get some just general experience in business when you're young. I think it's good for anyone who wants to work in any business to have a sales job at some point. In accounting specifically, I think, cutting your teeth a bit in the audit world helps. And then just through, experience, you find, what industries you're leaning towards, what interests you, what excites you, where can you do good, where can you bring value. So, if you're interested, people who are, young people who maybe are considering accounting as a career, just know that there's so much more out there than tax and audit. Not that those are not amazing career
Mm-hmm.
paths to take, but you can, specialize in an industry. You can work in industry. There are a lot of paths out there. For me specifically, I went to St. John's in Queens, and I got an MBA, and I did that when I was a little bit older. So I was doing it more part-time. And one thing that St. John's does really well is they encourage everybody to basically take the CPA exam while you're still in school. And I was in a position in my life where I was already working, and I was able to sort of extend my graduation, and I took the tests while I was in school, which worked out really well for me. I thought that was great advice. There's some, tests are what they are. I think I just happen to be a good test taker. Not that I'm like, some like a very smart CPA or anything like that. So that was in favor.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it can be daunting. And I know that takes a lot of planning to get there. And I know that's something that Mandy's working towards. And it takes planning. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes sometimes, 2 to 5 years from start to finish to get it. So take your time, enjoy the journey, I'll say.
Okay. All right. Now, do you see an economic downturn for the cannabis industry right now, and the in the market? What's been going on with our economy? We are, I believe, in a recession, or going into a recession. Can you?
That's the thing about That's the thing about things that can be argued are vices. In recessions, we often see more of an uptick in that kind of consumption.
Right.
So, and you also see that the alcohol industry is in decline as more people are turning towards cannabis as a way to let loose, as more people are turning to it for their mental health, and as people are turning away from alcohol for, addictive reasons. So obviously the trend does depend on the business itself and how well it's operated, but I think the industry is definitely still on the rise. Especially in New York.
Yeah. We are straight up potheads. I swear to God. We are
That's true.
Straight up pot. I mean, I just realized, like, this past year, I smoked so much weed. I could have bought a house, or at least put a down payment on one. But it is a commodity, because I used to sell when I was younger, and it was a commodity that kept a roof over my head and bills paid and stuff. So I've always found it to be wow, the government would just legalize this, we would be able to pay all the taxes for it. What's the problem? The stigmatism, I got it, the history. But now that we're moving away from that, do you all see like a progressive wave?
On some levels, I'm also seeing more of a consolidation in consumption types a lot of the time, because people gravitate towards a few products that they really like, and you see certain things that maybe were experimental and fun in the initial phase of legalization that we're seeing less demand for over time. So, but flower is king, and this is a flower town. New York is such a flower town, and we only ever want more of that. So you definitely see a lot of that, and I think it does. There's definitely a consolidation in consumption styles, more than I've seen in past years.
How about you, Allison?
As far as trends, like consumer trends?
Well, what the question, is more like, we did say, when the economy goes nuts, people get fucked up. So it really don't, people say, you know what? Okay, if we're going to stress, I'm going to be high doing this, or drunk, or whatever. I guess what do you think the trends are for the cannabis industry during these times that are about to get a little bit harder, I believe?
Well, I think that overall the market in New York is still growing. And I think that the challenges that people face really just comes from competition, because there's a lot of demand, but there's a lot of I'm thinking more. I know that we have a lot of clients, or across the river in Jersey as well. And it's sort of different issues over there, but it's like oversaturation, and, race to the bottom on pricing and discounting. And that's what's hurting. Everyone's trying to win that business. And that's what's hurting the operators and the bottom line.
Okay. Well, that's in Jersey. Does that also apply here in New York?
I think
Not
so.
nearly,
I
yeah,
was gonna
not
say
as
not
much,
as strongly, but it's there.
Yeah,
the discount,
right.
Yeah.
especially when you have big fish like Curaleaf in the area. Like I live in Forest Hills, and Curaleaf is the only really like legal dispensary in our general area. You have to go to another neighborhood. Silk Road is the one I like to go to
hmm
because they're a small business I want to support, and Curaleaf is a very big fish, and they can undercut your small business dispensaries.
Right.
So they create competition that I wish wasn't there for clients that I really want to see succeed.
Right. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. We want to see. I see you all as a medium-sized corporation. So maybe large corporation, I guess, as well. I haven't, but we want to be able to know that the small business has a chance and can make money, and be be at the table that everyone's talking about, or create their own. With your, where do you see the future in cannabis and finance? I'm going to leave that to Allison.
Cannabis and finance as a field, meaning?
That is an open, as a field for people to come in and find a career.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of opportunity still. And I've been doing this for about 5 years, specifically with cannabis. And I'll say what I love, and it mirrors the cannabis industry in general, is that amongst cannabis accountants, it's a lot of camaraderie, over competition for sure. Just because there's, plenty of work to go around, and none of us, we're all sort of navigating uncharted territory on a daily basis, and you need a really strong network. So, I just see, cannabis accounting as a field continuing to grow, for those that want to do sort of the things that do the work that maybe others don't want to. Because there is, the concern, people don't want to touch something that's federally illegal. But for others, that's an opportunity, and there's excitement there.
Yeah,
How about-
I for one find it super exciting.
Yeah,
ahead,
and
please.
education is huge, which is something Mandy and I have connected on multiple levels over the years. So there's a lot of opportunity to just collaborate and figure it out, and educate.
Oh, definitely. Education is the key. I tell my daughters, just go to school, just learn something. You don't even have to go to school anymore. You literally can go on Google and find everything you need and just study it and practice it. I suck at math. I really do. I know I'm really good at it. That's not true. I'm really good at math. I just am lazy. You got to practice. You got to always do the formulas over and over and over.
It's true.
And that's my issue. But for people that really love numbers, that love to be able to, especially for economics, that's definitely the way to go. Mandy, you do hospitality with SAX. What's that about?
Well, I do a couple of restaurants. That was my original background. And even before accounting, I was in restaurants and bars myself as a hospitality professional. So I kind of brought not only that experience and some of those clients with me, but I also kind of hope to be hitting the ground running when they open up they finally like roll out the on-site consumption licenses and allow some of the dispensaries to start doing that, because I think since we don't really know what that's going to look like, we don't know how we will be able to account for on-site consumption, because consuming liquor and the way you account for that in a bar is completely different than the way you would account for liquor in a liquor store. Like it might be the same in terms of purchasing on certain levels, but on the actual way that you would account for your revenue, the way you pay sales tax, like it's all different. And so how would things differ when you have both a dispensary that's selling to go, like product to go, as well as product that can be consumed, and whether we'd have to differentiate that. And I think having that hospitality element of what I'm doing as well really helps, because we don't know if there's a possibility that they might allow food and, maybe even alcohol to be
Right.
consumed on an on-site consumption. Like, are we going to open restaurants where someone can smoke, obviously adults only restaurants or lounges,
Mm-hmm.
but like if they're exclusively lounges and they can sell drinks and food, are there going to be different practices for something like that? And I think being, like Allison said, being at the forefront of a conversation in an industry where the rules are still being made is really special. And it's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely an adrenaline rush. And people assume that, accounting is a boring industry. In general, it's far from it.
Mm-mm.
It's
Yeah,
far
it's
from it for us.
yeah, yeah. It can any industry. I think it really depends on the passion that people go into, right? So, but I do know that I personally, I would love to have a consumption, but I would never sell alcohol because of the medicinal. It counteracts, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy. It's not healthy. I
Yeah.
would do an amazing mocktail bar.
Yeah.
I
And
think
more
that's more
fresh.
likely going to be what we'll see getting
Yeah.
legalized, because it
Mhm.
sounds like liability insurance costs would be through the roof for
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like
I would never.
on-site alcohol and cannabis consumption.
I'm not
Mhm.
sure.
Really?
We're not lawyers here, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that legally you're not going to be able to do that. You
You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
definitely yeah.
I agree, and I love that because one, as I said, it's not good to mix alcohol with cannabis. That's one. It's a totally two different crowds.
Yeah.
We were at. Were you at Revelry last year in Hudson?
Yeah, well, I did. Did you make it up
Okay.
there, Mandy? I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but yeah,
I-
that was good.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I was over at another event, so I was doing two events.
Mm-hmm.
And at the other event, I forgot the name. We walked right by it. It's right in front of the Hudson train station.
Yep.
It was their first cannabis event, and they were crazy nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the event, I asked the lady how everything went. She said, "I would do 1,000 of these than to do an alcohol event because we left the place. We left the place cleaner. All of her staff were going in the back to look for vomit, and they couldn't find any.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And the people were laid back. They were, we had catering. They were offered to eat, stuff like that. Just enjoy us. They enjoyed the vibe. We're a different vibe,
Yes.
a different community than alcohol community. Not to take anything. I had fun with the alcohol community too. But there always something would come up. So, but I think yes, the lounge aspect of it. Oh God, I would down. My cuisine alone would be crazy. I'd have special guest chefs and all that. What other, what are we looking forward to see with SAX? What are you all? Where are you trying to get into the market to really hit?
Do you want to take that, Mandy? Or you want me to go for it?
I was going to say you go for this one. This is
All right. So we all file income tax returns. Businesses file income tax returns. You file a state and you file a federal. 280E does not apply on your state tax returns. So all those deductions and credits that ordinary and necessary for your business, you can take those on your state tax return. But on your federal tax return, you cannot. And so that's why it's really the federal tax bills that cause the cash flow issues.
Okay. All right. And, New York has a unique tax structure as well, based on the THC potency and retail price. What are the most common mistakes you see retailers making when calculating these? Do you see how it affects, and how does it affect the bottom line?
sorry, is that when calculating income or sales tax?
Sales tax.
Yeah. So definitely I see, if you don't set up your POS system correctly and something is not labeled as cannabis on your POS system, that can cause some anomalies, which is part of the reason that we have to do as an extensive, amount of oversight as we do as accountants, because we want everything is properly coded on your POS system to make sure that we've recognized your revenue and then calculated your sales tax liability correctly. Um, and, so we're always going to use an amount calculated directly off sales that we've reconciled to the sales that we see in the books, rather than simply just take the POS number for granted. I think a lot of the time when people don't use accounting firms, or they don't, they think they can do it themselves, and they're maybe not necessarily doing all the research they can about the pitfalls of the way things are set up on the POS.
Mm-hmm.
People will pull their sales tax liability number by running dates in a POS and just pulling a random number. And, months later, you might get an assessment on that because you haven't done the full reconciliation process necessary to confirm that that's actually the real number. But there will be an auditor who will come tell you that you've done it wrong. And that can be expensive.
Okay. So, and you answered that question, because the next question was, why was it dangerous for a cannabis entrepreneur to use general accountant instead of one of the specialized, cannabis space? So you definitely need to have an attorney that is specialized in cannabis, an accountant. Everyone knows the regulations, and so it's very important. With the marketing getting more crowded in 2026, though, how should small business owners use their accounting data to decide when it's time to expand or scale back?
This is definitely something that we like to work with our clients on in the form of cash forecasts. And so if you can see if your current revenue and inflow minus the expenses that you have for your individual business that exists now leaves you with enough left over to expand.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've paid all your employees, once you've paid your overhead, once you've paid, are you current and up to date with your vendors? Your vendor relationships matter if you want to expand. If you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to expand and you're still trying to catch up on the bills that you owe for your current business, expansion is not going to bring you in more money,
Mm.
give you better pricing.
Okay.
So I think the paying attention to your rate of scalability and getting insight from your accountant, really key performance indicators that show you whether you're ready to expand or not, are majorly advantageous.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. I love this question here. When you first look at a cannabis startups books, what is the number one red flag that tells you they aren't ready for an audit?
They aren't ready for an audit?
They aren't ready for an audit.
Oh, negative balances, I'll say. How about
Okay.
that? Let's start there. Negative
Right.
balances, and maybe sales numbers that include tax is a good one too.
Oh, yes. Oh, I had
Mm.
one. I inherited like that, and imposter syndrome was calling Allison. This was before we worked at SAX, and I was like, "Is this real?"
No, you're right.
That
Trust
was
your
bad.
gut.
We were like, "No, it's really bad." It's
and
bad as
and
it is.
and I'm pretty sure as accountants and CPA, because that's different, right? There's a difference between an accountant and a CPA, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Accountants is a catch-all term.
Right.
And there are lots of different kinds of accountants. A CPA means that you're certified. You took the test,
Okay.
you took those requirements, and now you adhere to the state licensing requirements, and you have, just, I guess, a higher level of public trust placed in you because you carry that CPA next to your name.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and plus it makes you look like MD or PhD.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a non-CPA could do what a CPA can do,
Mm-hmm,
at the
mm-hmm.
end of the day. So depending on your
Yeah.
career path,
Right.
how people
And
feel.
but also too that non-CPA could be lazy as fuck. I just don't feel like taking the test. I can do this. I don't need to take the test. They can be like, I don't like authority.
I don't know if I would say it. I think there are a lot of non-CPAs who are smarter than some CPAs, frankly.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so I have a couple more questions here. So let's do this real quick.
All right.
What is the one piece of tax advice you give to a New York microbusiness license holder who is heading into their first full tax year?
Speak to a tax accountant early,
Mhm.
and really have a conversation about structure, and align your tax strategy with your goals. Think about your exit at the start. What are your investors requiring and looking for? Just have a tax plan, a tax strategy in place, from the beginning, and understand the implication of, the different options that you have.
Mandy, how about?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
can I answer this one too?
yeah.
Because mine is like a PSA, honestly, especially to the legacy professionals.
Hmm.
Um, keep your paper trail. I know it's counterintuitive to everything we've learned in the legacy market, which largely encouraged the destruction of a paper trail and encrypted messaging and just as all kind of staying off the books essentially. But the purposes now of being in the legal business market is we have to behave as businesses do in the legal business market, which means your paper trail really matters, especially when it comes to tax season. So having the paper trail allows us to capitalize assets that we would otherwise have to treat as expenses. Having a paper trail for large transactions helps protect you from audits. In general, that paper trail really, really matters. And
Yeah.
that's something I'm constantly trying to emphasize with new business owners who are coming into owning a legal business for the first time in their lives. And that's one that I think isn't emphasized enough.
Well, we need to hit. I got to tell you, I'm convinced. If I were a licensed person looking for accounting, I'd come to you guys.
Oh,
You
okay.
ladies you left me feeling, yeah, I can work with these ladies. They're good.
Awesome.
Your knowledge is, and you have more knowledge, and this is not going to be the end of it. I need to talk to you more because there's really a lot more people want to ask. And of course, the questions have been asked through the chat and everything, but there's more, and it takes so much. So on the fun side, sativa, indica, or hybrid?
Sativa always.
Yes. How about you,
Only and
Allison?
always.
Yeah.
I was always sativa. Now as I get older, I'm more indica.
I'm sativa. So are we pre-roll, bong, or vapes?
This is a flower town. I'm a flower girl.
Flower girl, yeah.
Same,
Same. Yeah, we definitely have to get together and do a live at a restaurant and just get silly, and people just see us enjoy life around us. Well, I want to tell you, ladies, I want to thank you so much. This is just the beginning of I hope, long conversation and discussing what we can do to help these small businesses afford accounting services and at the same time have long-term relationships with you guys and create generational wealth for these people. That's what's important. I want to thank you so much, Allison, Mandy, for coming on the show. And again, I hope to have you on real soon because there's more questions. I want to get involved. And doing a 2-hour show on finance, really,
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. All right. Are you all? Well, first off, where can everyone find you?
Well, we're on LinkedIn. We can saxllp.com. You can look us up there. And can we give our emails? I mean,
sure. Give your emails. And I'll also put them in the the notes in the comments as well if you like.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's do that.
Okay, yeah, I'll take care of all that, but you definitely can find them on LinkedIn. You're also on Facebook too, as well, and on saxllp.com. Thank you, ladies, so much. I really appreciate you coming on, spending the time with me. I hope you had a good time, and again, we'll be talking soon. Thank you. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much.
Thank you. This is great.
All righty. Take it
Thanks.
easy now. Bye-bye. Well, everyone, I want to say it's pretty good. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Proteus 420, they provide high-quality services and educational resources to support your growth and help you thrive in the cannabis community. Efficient inventory management ensures you maintain a reliable product supply and avoid stock shortages. Their point-of-sale service tracks sales activity, helping you identify best sellers, top employees, and valuable customers. Stay compliant with built-in reporting, alerting you to the latest state and local regulations. With payment processing, accept payments seamlessly across various methods, including cash and debit. Their customer relation management system builds loyalty, ensuring tailored offerings for repeat business. Proteus 420, empowering your cannabis business for success. Hey, everybody, everything is beautiful tonight. I had a great interview with Allison Kirchoffer and Mandy Dawson over at SAX LLP, giving you some advice on your taxes. Of course, we have so much more. I want to have a continued conversation with them. It has been a beautiful, beautiful week, cold week, but I did want to give a nice shout out to, let's see here. Do this right. There's going to be a big summit going on April 19th and 20th. This is the CCTA 420 and Cannabis Tourism Summit in Niagara Falls, Ontario. I've been invited to speak. Thank you, Reverend Kelly. You'll find her on Kelly Green Lounge TV. She is on IG. Beautiful lady. Festival is celebrating on April 20th, Culture of Cannabis celebration. It aims to elevate this day of cultural festivity as a Canadian institution by organizing music and art-centric events that will attract tourists to the region and promote cannabis tourism in the province. So looks like my first international trip is going to be here, April 19th and 20th. I will be there covering and speaking with these great people, talking about the New York State industry, where it's going, and how New York and Canada can really work together to build a very international community. Their weed up there is amazing. I'll tell you that. I really, really enjoyed their weed. And peace and love to everyone. I just want to say to all of you, thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Thank you, Allison Kirchhoffer and Mandy Dawson, for spending an hour with me. And I hope we can continue this conversation in the near future. In the next couple of weeks, I will be having special guests coming on from FTP For the People podcast. Nikki, Chris, and Trey, the hosts of For the People podcast, will be on next week. We also have, I've just got confirmation to have a couple of more dates. So the podcast is moving along. I will have Dr. Sofia Vergara on March 18th. She is with Cornell Wild University. Will give us ideas on the science of the plant. I will also have on the 25th Soham Bashar. We will be on discussing everything. So I got to make sure those topics are tight because we'll be all over the place if we don't stay on board. He is the owner of Silk Road, located at 166-30 Jamaica Avenue in Queens. And yeah, we're looking forward to a great season. I'm very happy. I want to thank everyone, my sponsors, Brody is 420, Silk Road, Jadestone Cannabis Branding, Green Spectrum CBD, Webod Distributors in Surfside for sponsoring this show. Also, Sean Gant, private sponsors, Sean Gant, Dr. Joan Cartwright, and just so many people. There's more of you, I'm sure. I'm going to have to get out. I'm going to have to put out that, that screen and add more people. I got to update it. Thank you so much, guys. You know who you are, and everyone will know as well soon. Thank you for attending tonight. This is Papa Duke's the OG Social Network Podcast. Please be safe out there. We don't want you to just be safe. Minnesota, we love you. California, we love you. United States, we love you. The world, we love you. Everyone, please relax, relate, release. This is Papa Duke's the OG Social Network Podcast. We are out.